エンジニアも自分でやられるんですね。実際にこう卓に座ってですね、アルバムのミックスなんかも担当しているのと同時にリミクサーにこうリミックスなんかを依頼してるんですけど、その辺ちょっと話を聞いてみましょう。You did the engineering for Gorgeous George yourself. Why is it that you do it yourself? Why don't you like ask others to do it?
Well, I have a co-engineer, a guy called Sebastian, loosely if I'm singing. But yeah, we do all the engineering together ourselves. And the reason was, I suppose, I'd after my last album, as I mentioned, I was always kind of frustrated in the studio that, you know, sound is such a subjective thing, really. And so, for example, like Girl Like You, I was always trying to get the distinctive Girl Like You guitar sound with other engineers. And I'd say to them that I wanted the guitar to sound like a bumblebee. And they'd always try and make it quite tasteful and quite 80s sounding, if you know what I mean. So this was a frustration to me. So I thought, I've got to really take responsibility now and do my own engineering, because I had kind of sounds in my head. And
It's difficult to explain sounds in words, isn't it?
Yeah, it's completely difficult, and people, whether they realise it or not, they're always established engineers and producers. They're always influenced by, well, in the 80s they were very influenced by people like Trevor Horn, and they've always got an idea of, in inverted commas, kind of good taste in their heads. And quite a lot of Gorgeous George, for me, it's my kind of idea of the kind of trash aesthetic. So I don't mind kitsch sounds, mixing in kitsch sounds to kind of thing that I do. So this is why I felt I had to build my own studio, which was based around a 1969 vintage Neve console, which I bought from Goldcrest Film Studios. It was just lying unused in the basement, and they'd used it for things like dubbing for Time Bandits and Brazil and all these kind of films. So I was very lucky to get this desk quite cheaply when I didn't have much money. So I kind of took it from there.
I see. But still, you ask other people to remix your song, right? Is there a certain kind of you know, hope that you'd get some other input, or why is it that you have other people remix it?
Well, it's partly just kind of par for the course now in the UK. I mean, realistically, I don't think any of the mixes are really going to cross over to the dance market, although some dance clubs play the Victorian Spaceman and the youth remix of Girl Like You back in the day.
There are some danceable mix of A Girl Like You, which is interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. But it's not really to reach another market. I was telling you the real reason is because I'm often too busy to come up with additional tracks for singles, to be frank, really.
I see. But you know, doing the remixes and things like that, like, what's the kind of sound that you really prefer? Like, let's say, for instance, do you buy CDs a lot these days?
I do. I mean, I'm quite interested. I mean, anyone these days, it's quite commonplace to plug in a sampler, a keyboard directly into a console. So in terms of productions, I'm really interested in the 50s and 60s and 70s productions.
So you do a lot of sampling from that?
But occasionally I sample from these records, but I also like reading up on, I have old interviews with Eddie Kramer, Jimi Hendrix's producer, on kind of esoteric techniques that they used on Hendrix sessions, and this was quite in a you know, more audiophile kind of technical magazine, and he first gave this interview in 1976, and it seemed almost like kind of a arcane, mystical knowledge that I needed to gather. Yeah, but when I listen to the old productions, it's kind of with a view to influence the kind of production I do now, because I feel these are the kind of lost arts, if you like, things like microphone technique now that so much music is generated through samples and keyboards.
Right. And a lot of engineers can't even put mic for drums these days because,
exactly,
you know, using so much drum machines.
This is what I'm interested in, really.
I see. エドウィン・コリンズさんとのインタビューまだまだ続きます。